Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. CoinDesk versus Tether. CoinDesk wins. We got BNY Mellon, Raoul Pal from Real Vision, and Michael Saylor on Gary Gensler's recent move on crypto staking. We got the SEC could benefit from a Ripple settlement from one legal analyst. He shares his vision. You are going to want to hear it. And how about this? U.S. Treasury and FSOC just came out with a paper yesterday, and you're going to want to know about it. Systemically important designations for non-bank institutions. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, it is $1.06 trillion market cap. The market is up 0.2%. Bitcoin, 21,700 plus. We see Ethereum at 1,500 plus. Tether market cap, 68.3 billion. We got some news for you on the Tether front. XRP, 38 cents right now. Let's take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It's the weekend, and Link2 says maximize your weekend with Link2's low investment minimums at $5,000 minimums right now, all weekend long. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Start building your investment portfolio with Link2 today. Boy, oh boy, is that a great opportunity. Click that link underneath the video if you're an accredited investor and check it out for yourself. You know, one of the things I love about Link2 is it's private equity. There's no regulation and compliance issues. Obviously, you got to be accredited, and that's not their rules. That's FINRA and SEC that came up with that, and they don't like it, and we don't either. But the truth is there is no regulation compliance issues there, and I love being able to invest in that because I know I'm in such a high-risk space here in the crypto side, which I love too. And speaking of high risk, take a look at this. A New York judge on Friday rejected an attempt by iFinex and related companies, which include cryptocurrency exchange Bitfinex and stablecoin issuer Tether, to block CoinDesk's request for information about the financial reserves backing the U.S. Tether token. How about that? And this is it right there. There's not much more to glean than what's said there. Now, they don't have the information, but they won the right to get the information. So we will keep you posted. Again, they recently reported that they had, Tether recently reported 700 million, I think, in revenue or profit, one or the other, just recently, and had an attestation done by BDO, one of the top 5 accounting consultant firms. But it was an attestation, not a full-on audit, which is much different. So just, you know, we shall see. Right. I don't want anything bad to happen either, but I want the Treasury, the Fed, the U.S. government, I want them all to come out and say, you know what, Tether's legit, we're good to go here. But we haven't heard that. Until we do hear that, it isn't that. That's the way I think adults should be seeing it. So, duly noted. However, I, like BNY Mellon, feel like no matter what's going on right now, that this is here to stay. Crypto assets are here to stay, but which ones is the question, right? 91% of the respondents are interested in putting their money into tokenized products, and 70% would increase their engagement with digital assets if trusted and recognized institutions provide services like custody and execution. You know, this is where I think of like PolySign. You know, I've said this before. I think the next bull market that comes, and not bull run, bull market, is going to be real companies solving real problems with this real technology. It is not complicated. What is complicated is to sort out who can actually do that, who is actually already doing that. Now, for me personally, and not financial advice, it's Ripple with XRP, the digital asset, and it's PolySign with what they've created to solve the custody and execution of settlement and tokenizing the capital markets. I think that is going to play an enormous role. And obviously, you can get that on Link2 as well. But these are the things I'm looking for that are real applications. How can this technology help a MasterCard or a Visa? Well, obviously Visa feels that way. They've bought up many Ripple partners. So it's going to be interesting to watch this space unfold with a little bit of clarity that we don't have today. Now, this is a reminder. I played this clip yesterday, and I don't want anyone getting sick listening to Gary Gensler spew his crap and not be challenged at all by Andrew Sorkin. I think John Deaton says it best. He says, wow, earlier I responded to Jesse Powell from Kraken response to this, but I hadn't listened to Gary Gensler's comments yet. There's a form on our website, which I'm about to show you. And of course, Andrew Sorkin lets Gary Gensler gaslight without challenging him or saying something 100% not true. Media complicit. And the media is complicit, and they really are. And they have been in so many ways, even outside of crypto, I might add. However, if you have not done this yet, just complaining and liking and resharing something on Twitter does not get the job done. Take a minute, 1 minute, and go to Crypto Law US, connect to Congress. It has it right there. It's so easy to do where you can reach out and connect to your congressman and make a statement and encourage the banking committee to do their actual job. That's what we're talking about. And after 60+ thousand messages demanding an investigation into Gary Gensler's action around the FTX disaster, Financial Committee leadership kicked off their probe this morning. We can't stop fighting. It does work. It never feels like it, but you got to keep going. If you give up, they win. Here's a really good clip here of listening to Raoul Pal from Real Vision. Shout out to him. I'd love to sit down with him and have a great conversation. I tell you, I just think it would be wonderful. And Michael Saylor. To Saylor, I must add, however, John Deaton says, anyone who truly understands security law knows that the investment contract, aka security, is not the underlying asset or token. You must distinguish secondary sales independent of the promoter. It's so well said. Listen to this exchange and how Michael Saylor really digs his heels in that he believes that anything other than Bitcoin is a security.
Gensler says this to the Senate yesterday, I quote, if it stays outside of the public policy framework for AML, tax compliance, and investor protection, it is not going to long persist, unquote. I think that's pretty clear what he's trying to tell you.
The issue I've got with all of this is I get the AML, I get the tax stuff. It's this stupid securities law from 1933, 1934 that doesn't make sense. It makes it highly restrictive in who is able to access certain things. It's that what is a security is we're trying to fit something into a wrong framework.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the crypto guys
because anybody can buy a house. If you say it's a property, everybody should be able to buy it.
Yeah, but Raul, if I created my own Mikey coin and then I pumped it on Twitter and I dumped it on the retail population after I gave a bunch to a celebrity who then told the world it was great, it's illegal and it's unethical. The truth of the matter is if you have a centralized group of people creating a token, which is a security, giving it to themselves and then selling it on the market and representing it as a decentralized property, you're crossing an ethical line and you're also crossing a legal line. And you.
Well, let's stop right there. The truth is that the real Satoshis gave themselves 1 million Bitcoin, Michael, right? So by his standard, every single thing is a security, and he doesn't realize it through his own arrogance that he's saying it. That's what I see there. There is a difference between a contract that exists. Look, what Michael is saying here, and whether he's aware of it or not, is that the oranges in the Howey test are securities. It's absurd. Listen, obviously, I believe that the broader market of digital assets, whether I want to happily agree with Gary Gensler or not, the broader market is, in fact, digital asset securities. It is companies and projects looking to obfuscate the regulatory standards and framework for public disclosures on the assets. It's a truth. They're trying to fund and raise money, right? Without going through the hurdles and the right things you're supposed to do. And that's wrong. And that is wrong. But it doesn't mean in every case, as Michael is claiming here, outside of Bitcoin, that just because it's not Bitcoin, it's a security. I think that is very dangerous for him to say and put forth such an argument, certainly in a climate like this. Keep listening.
You can't avoid the ethical responsibility and the legal responsibility simply by saying, oh, it's new tech.
Nobody's saying that. What I'm saying is to classify it as a security is not the right way of stopping that. It doesn't stop it in equity markets. It doesn't stop it in the VC markets. It doesn't stop it at all. What it is it makes it more restrictive for people. Now, that nefarious behavior needs to be regulated.
If you understand securities law, you understand that they are securities. If I actually create 10 million tokens and I give 5 million to me and my four compatriots, and then we start marketing the rest, and we do it without a registration statement, without disclosing who owns the security, it is a security. You are violating securities law. The law is black and white. And so the only people that think it's not a security are people that don't know the law, right?
Well, what do we do about the fact that Homeland Security Special Agent Rana Sayed said she knows that the Satoshis are 4 people, and we all know Satoshi's got a wallet with 1 million plus Bitcoin in it. Well, what does that make Bitcoin, Michael? Let's shift gears now from all the confusion, because certainly Gary Goldman Gensler is not helping provide any clarity. I think it is intentional what he's doing. Bill Morgan, legal analyst in this space, shout out to Bill, says there is a benefit to the SEC could reach an agreement with Ripple in a settlement. Let's take a look at this very quickly here. In a recent tweet, Bill said that a crypto advocate and lawyer highlighted 5 things the SEC could benefit from reaching an agreement with Ripple. You're going to see where all of this is going in 1 second here. I'm about to take you to the U.S. Treasury and FSOC. Stay with me. According to Morgan, if the SEC settles with Ripple, the blockchain company could pay a huge fine as a part of the agreement, just like Kraken did recently. Morgan added that the SEC could get an outcome that justifies the lawsuit against Ripple if it chooses to settle. Furthermore, the securities watchdog may get to keep the contents of the William Hillman 2018 controversial document sealed in the event of a settlement. Morgan added that the SEC might also avoid getting an adverse decision on fair notice if it settles with the leading blockchain company. Finally, Morgan said that there would be no decision on the Blue Sky investment contract issue if the parties settle as well. As we saw this week, the argument has been made for a second time by the defendants in the SEC versus Wahi. Imagine if Ripple wins on this point, Morgan added. So it bears mentioning that there is no plan for settlement between Ripple and the SEC that has been disclosed. So we can say that we don't know this, but he's just sharing what he believes would be an opportunity at this point to avoid all of those things and to gain access to a huge fine and a win in the SEC column. You know, look, I'm bringing all of this up because I have said this, I'm less concerned these days about a ruling that harms XRP, the asset, and I'm more concerned about a ruling that harms the retail investor. That's really where my main concern is these days. I don't think they're going to harm it. But we talked the other day about the idea, and we've talked for years about the idea of XRP being a price set, price floor, or maybe even a stable coin or a stable coin launched off of XRP, and all these different possible outcomes or scenarios, because I've always believed that if XRP is going to serve as a payment token and then a bridge currency and then ultimately one day enough liquidity to serve the world in a global reserve currency status, it has to go through these measures of growth, I do believe myself, right? How does it get there? Well, this could be one of the ways. It always looks like the U.S. is behind, but is it? Credit to Jesus Tejero. This came out yesterday from the U.S. Department of Treasury, and it is FSOC. And you all following me have heard me talk about FSOC and the ability to deem things systemically important that are non-bank financial institutions. Well, right here, during the meeting, the council heard presentation from the Treasury staff on council progress on its priorities from 2022 and a preview of the work plan of the council on 2023 priorities. The council's priorities include climate-related financial risk, non-bank financial intermediation, treasury market resilience, and risk related to digital assets. That's the meeting where we're there all of 2022, and it's carrying on into 2023. But if you thought that was the only thing I'm going to show you, then shout out to Rod Hop for this one.
This involves the Financial Stability Oversight Council, and the Treasury just released a readout of a meeting they were having. The key news here, crossing the wire, was that there was a proposal put on the table to revive the idea here of making non-banks into that systemic risk labeling. I think we have Bloomberg's Michael McKee standing by right now to give us a little bit more insight about this. And Mike, unpack this for us, because this basically has to do with traditional banks, which are deemed systemically important and thus have to follow certain rules, and sort of non-banks, which are kind of outside that system, and maybe in an acknowledgement that they are too just as systemically important.
Well, that's basically it, Romaine. The council is looking at the idea that some of these non-banks could have enough counterparty exposure, could be large enough that if there were an issue, they might have problems. And this is not a guarantee that they're going to go ahead and do something. The Treasury staff basically gave them a series of options for whether or not they want to go ahead and designate non-bank financial companies for Fed supervision. Now, that would put them in the category of significant financial institutions, and then that would require, under Fed guidance, they follow regulatory rules for how they operate, and also that they probably would have to have some sort of capital set aside. So you can imagine this would be a bit of a fight if they do it, but it is something that they are apparently going to look into. This was basically, as you mentioned, a meeting of the Financial Stability Oversight Council, where they went over their priorities for 2023, what they're going to be looking into. Not a guarantee they're going to do this, but it is something that's on the table.
And there you have it, right? It is something that's on the table. And what do we know? The Financial Stability Oversight Council is, in fact, stacked to deck with the Federal Reserve, Gary Gensler himself, the Treasury. The list goes on and on. You know that Michael Esbar is the VP of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, architecting stablecoin legislation. We know that XRP is a payment token and can be a payment token. It's acted as a payment token this entire time. How crazy would it be to see XRP come out of this decision, this court case, with a ruling that does not define it for the future necessarily, but rectifies what it has been in the past to present? And then FSOC come in and use the systemically important designation discussed here on Bloomberg due to the Treasury's printout of that meeting. They're on it. Bloomberg's talking about it right here. Systemically important financial institutions. I'm telling you, this is back on the table, ladies and gentlemen. And I absolutely believe where things are here in this crypto space, as we're watching it be crushed, this may be the rise up from the ashes moment with the phoenix that is XRP, and it may be a systemically important non-bank financial institution, and that payment token may become a stable coin. And that doesn't mean that it would be worth $1. What it really means is that Ripple would become a lender of last resort because they control the escrow releases. And as they continue, as they tell us every Q report, they're buying XRP off the exchanges. They're redirecting it and selling it to ODL, on-demand liquidity, market makers, and participants that actually use it for what it's designed for. And this is sound monetary policy. And as you onboard more people to on-demand liquidity, you can raise the price by getting more off of the market and redirecting it into ODL. The more liquidity and the more utility equals value over time. Maybe, just maybe, XRP is a stable coin. Not financial advice from me or anyone else, but this is getting good, ladies and gentlemen. I'll catch all of you on the next one.